I'm not gonna lie. All these videos talking about these crazy Reddit stories made me download the app 2 years ago. Am I ashamed that I lurk on there from time to time? Absolutely, yes. But I have found some juicy stories that I either haven't read yet or I have and I forgot about them. So I figured a la Smosh, I'm going to read and react to some of them. And because I don't know what to do with myself while I read them, I'm just gonna do my makeup. I thought that'd be kind of a fun thing. So, with that all out of the way, let's just react to some stories, shall we? My girlfriend left me on the day I was proposing without any explanation. This is a throwaway account and all names are fake. The story includes me, 28 male, my now ex-girlfriend Elise, 27 female, and her best friends Leah, 27 female, and David, 27 male. Elise and I have been together for 3 years and living together for 1.5 years. Our relationship was very strong and we were madly in love. All of our friends always used to say that we were a perfect couple. Our communication was strong and we had everything planned in our lives. I told her that I won't be marrying her before I get a job that pays well enough to build our family, and she agreed. Well, I got a very good job 2 months ago and we started planning our lives together. Our plan was to get married in the next year or two, buy a house, and then have kids when we have more financial stability. She also started dropping hints that I should propose. I was already planning to propose, so I started researching for rings, proposal venues, etc. This was when I contacted Leah and asked her to meet me and keep it a secret. I told her my plans and she confirmed that Elise would love this and also gave me some suggestions which I loved. Leah also included David, as the three of them were best friends since childhood and knew each other very well. They also helped me pick the ring. The plan was to rent a cabin surrounded by nature and wilderness, as Elise likes that a lot. I rented the cabin, and on a Friday I took the day off without telling my girlfriend and met up with Leah and David and one of my friends to set up everything. I gave instructions to my friend about how I wanted everything to be set up, as he was supposed to go there the next day before us and set everything up. Flowers, cameras, etc. I went back home after that and ordered Elise's favorite takeout. We talked about her day and then went to bed. Now, a week ago, Leah had invited Elise for brunch on Saturday, proposal day, at a new fancy place, the proposal location. She emphasized that the place was fancy so that Elise wouldn't get suspicious of Leah asking her to wear a nice dress. On Saturday morning, Leah and David came to our apartment to pick up Elise. As soon as they left, I called a friend of mine who was waiting just around the corner, and I left soon after. Then I called my other friend who was supposed to be at the cabin and asked him how everything was going. He assured me that everything was set up exactly how I wanted it. I had also asked David to share their location and to drive slowly or take a longer route so that I can get there 10 to 15 minutes before them. I realized David hadn't shared the location, but it was fine. We got there and I just ran in to change into a suit. Then I went to the exact position and checked the camera angles. Everything was perfect. Then I waited for my girlfriend and her friends to arrive. The drive is 30 to 40 minutes from our apartment and they should have been there. I thought they went slightly overboard with stalling. I waited there for another 20 minutes. It had already been more than an hour since they left the apartment and I was getting worried, so I asked one of my friends to call David and sneakily ask how long it'll take them. They called him 2 to 3 times, but no answer. Then they called Leah 2 to 3 times. No answer. I assumed the worst. I called David and Leah as well. Still no answer. Finally, I decided to call Elise. First call, she didn't answer. My heart was racing at this point. As soon as I called her again, Leah answered instead. I was panicking and asked her if everything was all right and why is nobody answering the phone. She went silent for 2 seconds and then started yelling at me. She told me to never call Elise ever again and that I was dead to her, that I was a horrible human being for doing that to her. She doesn't want to see my face or talk to me ever again. I was confused, but before I could say anything, she hung up. I was so confused and started crying, and my friends had to console me. Soon after that, I got a text from Leah that she'll be coming over later with David to get Elise's stuff, and that Elise doesn't even want to step into the apartment, even if I'm not there. I immediately called her parents to ask what was going on. They knew about the proposal, and we were supposed to go to their home for lunch after the proposal. They had no clue what was going on and told me that they'll call her and ask. I got a call from them 10 minutes later saying that they called Elise, and she told them that she can't talk right now and she'll call them later. They were also confused about all this. I was devastated and I didn't know what to do. My friends took me back to my apartment and we hung out. David and Leah came over in the evening to take Elise's stuff. My friends and I tried to talk to them, but they didn't say anything. They just asked me where Elise's stuff was and took some of it and said they'll be back for the rest. They also reiterated that if I tried contacting Elise again, I'll be reported for harassment. At that moment, I just wanted to cry because just the thought of me harassing my girlfriend was overwhelming. After they left, my friends told me that they think I shouldn't be alone right now and they were staying the night and won't take no for an answer. We stayed up and talked till 4 a.m. last night and then everyone went to bed. I wasn't able to sleep and I've been just thinking about every potential reason for Elise's behavior, but I don't have any answers. The only scenario I can think of is that Elise was cheating on me and somehow she realized I was going to propose and she freaked out and told her friends that she can't do this because I cheated on her. This still doesn't make sense, but it's the closest thing to an explanation I have right now. I know it's a horrible thing to think about. Today was supposed to be the first day of our engaged life together. Hopefully I'll be able to get some answers from her parents if they talk to her. ETA. Been up all night and was going through the comments. I cannot reply to every comment and message, but I just wanted to say that I appreciate all the supportive comments and messages. I don't have any updates yet, but I wanted to add some details for the people speculating. For the people worried about Elise's safety, her parents called her yesterday and talked to her briefly. She just said that she's not feeling good right now and she'll call them in a few days to talk. So apparently she's safe. I've told them to call me as soon as they hear back from her. Also, David is gay, so I don't think there's anything going on romantically between them. For the people saying that I did something wrong, cheat, or physically hurt her, I don't know what to say to you. If I did that, then I won't be losing my sleep looking for answers. Some people suggested that I don't give Elise's stuff to Leah and David, and I think that's a good idea. I'll tell her parents that if they want her stuff, they can either tell Elise to get it or come get it themselves. When Leah and David came to get some of her stuff, they just took some clothes and shoes. There are many people who are confused about the timeline. All of this happened 2 days ago on a Saturday, not last week. I'll also try to contact Elise. I'll write down everything I can think of and send her an email as I'm blocked on everything else. Also, one of my friends knew Leah before we met. They were colleagues at their old job and they set us up. So I've asked him to try to find out what's going on from their mutual friend group. Okay, wow, that's a lot to take in. I'm just so confused by this because their life was pretty happy together. There was no issue seemingly between the two of them. Now listen, obviously we only get one side of the story, so we don't know what happened between her and her friends when they went out for dinner. And I can't really imagine that her friends would tell her that she was getting proposed to because that's supposed to be a surprise. And the thing is like they talked about marriage. They talked about wanting stability before getting married. So it just makes sense that once he got the job that could provide them stability, that he would naturally propose. So maybe she was onto something and wanted to bail right away, but the friends calling him, or at the very least him trying to call and then them only responding after how many times to then yell at him saying that they'll never forgive him for what he did. I don't understand that. She could have told them like, hey, I want out of this relationship. They wouldn't have to say after what you did to her. That's what's really confusing to me. And obviously if this guy did cheat or abuse her, potentially he doesn't realize that he did, if he did. But if he did, obviously like he said, he wouldn't be losing sleep over it. So I don't know what could have possibly gone down to make them change up so quickly, and now she doesn't even want to see him. It seems like there was no signs that this was going to happen. You know, it seems like they were living a normal life, and then the day that he proposes, why on the day that he was going to propose? You know, she didn't know it was on the day that he was proposing, but why do I feel like maybe she did? And she wanted to end it before it got there. That's why I'm thinking maybe she was cheating. To not even tell him what he did wrong, that they wouldn't even talk to him when they were cleaning up her stuff, that she wouldn't even go there, that if he tried to contact her, that he'd be like sued for harassment or whatever. And the fact that she blocked him on everything, it just feels so all of a sudden. And such a weird 180 switch up. Like, it's crazy. I wanted to go through some of the comments. Top comment says, this whole thing is suspicious, to be honest. I bet Elise either told Leah and David a fake story or they both made up some fake story to get Elise to dump you. I don't know. All three of them are mad suspicious. It is strange to me that they switched up as quickly as they did. I can't imagine, though, that, like, they would go through with planning the entire proposal with him if they were gonna try and convince her to dump him. If they told a lie to Elise, she would at least have wanted to talk to him before never speaking to him again to confront about it, right? Because she didn't, I think it's more likely she cheated on him or something is hiding and made up a story about him being awful or cheated on her and told that to her friends, because her friends seemed really happy to set up the whole proposal event and seemed super loyal to her. That's exactly what I was thinking. All right, next story. Husband shared my Valentine's Day gift with his buddies. For Valentine's Day, I, 26 female, gave my husband, 27 male, a homemade coupon book with a bunch of little coupons he could redeem whenever he wants to, back rub, date night, etc. It was a cute idea I found out about on social media, and I added my own little spin to it. Some of the coupons I put in were sexy and dirty to make it fun. So this morning I learned that my husband, when he was out with his friends on Thursday and the topic of Valentine's Day came up, showed the coupon book to his friends. I was really surprised, as some of the stuff was what I consider personal and private. For example, one was for what I called the hips and hands treatment, something he especially likes. I'm trying to sort out how I feel about this. Maybe it's harmless, but I feel like he shared things indirectly with his friends about our sex life. Opinions are welcome. This one's a little confusing to me, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know how to feel about it because I can understand both sides pretty well, and this is a pretty short story, so like I don't know too much about this husband and how he acts and stuff, but I mean, clearly he liked the gift. If he's sharing it with his friends, I think just kind of trying to brag about the fact of like, oh, look what my wife got me, unless he was trying to do it to like make fun of her behind her back, but I kind of can't imagine that much. But like I said, we don't really get to know these people too well, so I don't know. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but at the same time I can understand kind of feeling like, hey, this stuff was supposed to be private. I didn't want a whole bunch of people looking at things that are just meant to be sexy time stuff with you. I can understand how it feels like an invasion of privacy, but at the same time I'm like, if they didn't make fun of it and he was just kind of bragging about it, that's cute. But if they were making fun about it because like he was trying to like, you know, he brought it up because he's like, look at this stupid fucking coupon book I got, that's a different story. So I guess it depends on the context of why he showed it to his friends. Let's just see what some comments say. He was probably bragging because he's so happy. It's not like he was giving the coupons out or anything, which was my initial fear when I started reading. But of course you're entitled to feel uncomfortable with anything. If you haven't voiced this in the past, maybe just say, hey, I hadn't thought about it before, now it's happened. I've got to be honest, I do feel uncomfortable about private details being shared. I know that people talk to their friends and don't mind general stuff being discussed. Like my wife gave me a cool coupon book of personal things we could do together, but I really don't like any specific details. She'd like it to be private moving forward. Yeah, I think that that's the best way to do it, and the OP responded, great point. I do think he was bragging. I guess it's cute in a way. Okay, that changes things for me then if she thinks that he was bragging about it, because I think that's a lot cuter to be like, look at all this stuff that she gave me, and like this person said, I didn't even think about that. If you were giving out the coupons and kind of making it everyone's gift to be able to use with their partners or something, that'd be really creepy and weird. I ultimately am understanding of her want for privacy, and I truly think that because it's not that big of a deal, that he could totally just understand if she even just says like, hey, I appreciate you showing this off and bragging about me and my cool little Valentine's Day gift, but I would appreciate if in the future anything sexual or private of this matter that just kind of is meant for the two of us stays between the two of us. All right. Next story. I broke my wife and I don't think it's fixable. This happened 6 months ago and I only chose to talk now because I don't see improvement in sight and I'm hopeless. We were at a party. My friend is single and we started talking about love and relationships. My wife and I have been happily married for 7 years. We have 3 beautiful children. She's the love of my life. When I was talking to my friend, I felt like we were on different levels of thinking. His complaints are mostly superficial about how the people he dated looked. I was a bit drunk at that point and said something like, you don't fall in love with looks. Look at me and my wife. I love her more than anything compared to my ex who was just looks. Everyone went silent and my damage control was worse, so I ended up shutting the hell up. I couldn't get my point across, but even I thought that maybe these thoughts have been in my head, but only came out when I was drunk. My wife was shocked. First week, she was so angry and wanted to understand what I meant, and nothing I said was good enough. I was drunk. I love her. I think she's the most beautiful woman. She thought being drunk made me say my true feelings. Then one morning she said, you know, I've never felt as ugly as I have felt this past week. I've always thought I'm beautiful. She didn't cry this time, but she hasn't been happy since. I started crying and apologizing, but she was like emotionless. It was the last time she looked at me too. She's taciturn and distant, but only with me. She's lost 20 pounds and she works out 6 to 7 days a week. She never has free time with me. If she's not with the children or family and friends, she's immersed in some book or has her headphones on. She's always fully clothed now, even in bed. She locks the bathroom door when she takes a shower. She's more active on social media too. She shares many pictures of her, and she thanks everyone who gives her a compliment. Before, it was just pictures with our children and pets, but now it's her, working out in sports bras and tights. I broke her, and I don't know how to fix it. Yeah, that's a big fat yikes. I got a lot of thoughts here, because it kind of just kept getting worse. His original comment, while not the best, obviously, was also not the worst, because you can very easily just kind of say, like, no, it was just very superficial between me and my ex. She was only about looks. That was all she cared about. That was the only thing between us. But with my wife, not only is she beautiful, and there's a whole, looks aspect to our relationship, there's also a deeper, more emotional aspect to the relationship as well. That is why it works as well as it does. I can't imagine that this dude said something to the like of that, and I have a feeling it was more about, no, with my ex, it was all about raw and passionate energy, and with my wife, we have a great emotional depth. And it's not about looks and blah, blah, blah. I mean, he had to have made her feel pretty bad about her fucking looks. And the fact that he's like doubting himself if he really feels that way, or if it's like just hidden and it only comes out when he's drunk, that's not a good sign either. If that's what his damage control was like, I can completely understand why his wife is as angry as she is. That being said, to take it to the lengths that she has, where she's losing weight and she's now just posting pictures of herself in bras and leggings and like workout gear to kind of show off her body, and will only react to compliments that she gets online, and she won't like listen to her husband. That's a level of, I would say, emotional immaturity. I understand like she tried to talk about it at first, but obviously every explanation wasn't good enough. Now, in that sense, I can maybe see her getting more and more mad if his damage control wasn't good, and so then like every answer he gave, who's to say how good those were? But if you're that upset to the point where you don't think you're gonna get over it, even though they've clearly built a life together, have pets, have kids, I just don't know if there's really anything worth salvaging, just because when is it gonna stop? It's been 6 months and she has been distant and cold with him, doesn't post anything that she used to post. She seems like a completely different person because she feels ugly from him. And I don't want to be like, this is grounds for divorce, because I feel like there are a lot of situations where people are just like, run for the hills, divorce, break up, blah, blah, blah. But in this situation, I feel like it could be fixable, but I don't really think that she wants it to be fixed. How is it ever going to get repaired? Either you don't want it to be repaired, so you should just break up, or you need to start working towards something. Some of the comments: you say your damage control was worse. What else did you say that night, and how long did you do it for? My friend and my wife's friend and husband were silent, and I started saying that I didn't mean that my wife wasn't good looking. I just meant that I loved her for other things. Then, even worse, I said that sometimes you're very attracted to someone and everything is a whirlwind with them, but you have nothing in common and see no future, and I probably alluded that I use my brain and not my dick when looking for a relationship. I thought it was a logical way of thinking for her. I think she would have preferred that whirlwind and passion. Yeah, that damage control is not good. That's kind of what I was anticipating it was. Yeah, knowing what he said for damage control is necessary because that error would have been so easy to fix. Oh God, no. What I meant was my wife has more than good looks, which is why our marriage works. She's more than just her pretty face. Yeah, because when you imply that your wife isn't pretty and you're only with her for her personality, that's gonna make you feel really ugly, even if that's not your intention. Next story. Am I the asshole for not telling my best friend her crush is gay? My best friend, we'll call Amanda, has a crush on our mutual friend we'll call Alex. Amanda and myself have been friends for about 7 years, while we've only known Alex for a few months. Amanda constantly flirts with and hangs around Alex, and it's quite obvious that she likes him. For this reason, Alex tends to prefer to hang out with me, the reason unbeknownst to Amanda, because he's just another friend to me, which makes Amanda jealous that he hangs out with me all the time and not her, even though I've repeatedly told her I'm in no way interested in him. He disclosed to me that he was gay, but told me he didn't want me to tell Amanda because he could tell she likes him. Amanda proceeds to ask him out the following week after he told me this. They went on a date after, which Alex finally told Amanda he was gay. Amanda tells me how bad and stupid she feels and how she felt like a test subject and turned him gay. I told her I'd known for a while and that she didn't turn him gay, but he didn't want her to know. She's now furious at me for making her feel like an idiot and letting her go on a date with him and won't talk to me. Am I the asshole for not telling her he was gay? Edit. Holy cow, this got way more answers than I thought I would. Thank you all for your input. As for why Alex actually took her on the date is beyond me. I'm guessing either he wasn't for sure or in denial of his gayness and used it as a test date, or he was too embarrassed to say no when she asked. I think somebody's mowing their lawn outside. I'm sorry. So if you hear any noise in the background, that's what that is. Now, for this, I would say this person is not the asshole. First of all, don't out somebody, right? It's not her responsibility to tell her friend that this guy is gay. It's the guy's responsibility because it's his sexuality and it's his decision on when he wants to let people know. But I feel like this Alex guy is definitely an asshole. He knew he was gay before she ever even asked him out, because he said that he didn't really want to be around her because of the fact that he knew that she liked him. Why would you accept going on a date with her? I don't think it's fair, because even if he was questioning, not 100% sure of his sexuality when they went on the date, you're still kind of using her in order to figure that out. Were you going to try and let her down easy? Because for me, that's just leading her on, right? Taking her out on a date to then tell her that you're gay is really sending some mixed signals, and I don't think that that's very fair to her, when he very easily could have said, hey, listen, the reason why I'm hanging out with this person and not you is because I can tell that you like me and I feel uncomfortable with your advances because I'm gay. Something along that line, I think probably would have been received way better than the way he went about it. And I think she's taking her anger out on the wrong person, because this person was probably just trying to make her feel better. Looking at some of the comments, not the asshole, it's not your place to share someone else's business, especially in confidence. There's no betrayal, and it was something he needed to feel comfortable telling her in his time. If she's upset with you, it's her own insecurities getting to her. I would agree with you if it weren't for the date. It's not okay to lead people on, to be knowingly complicit in that, and watching a gay male friend date your female friend who doesn't know he's not actually interested is not okay. OP and Alex had plenty of options available that weren't Alex goes on a date with a straight woman. If Alex were a straight man who knew he wasn't interested, he'd also be an ass. He didn't have to come out to Amanda to turn her down. That's true. OP is 30 years old. All these people are way too grown to not know how to handle an unrequited crush. Jesus, I thought this was high school. That makes this even worse for me. You are all 30 years old. Now, I don't know anything about Alex or his situation, whether or not he's out to family or friends. Maybe this is just a new discovery. I could understand experimenting, maybe testing it out, being this immature in high school. 30 years old. That is crazy. And you know what? I like the other point that this person made, which is you don't have to come out to her in order to tell her you're not interested. No is a complete fucking sentence, everyone, okay? You don't have to give an explanation. Anyway, next story, move on. I just found out I was the other woman to my cheating husband. I, female 37, have been with my husband, male 40, for 13 years and married for 9. We have 2 sons, 6 and 8, and have been happily married with the usual ups and downs you would expect with a relationship, but we've been happy, very happy. My mother-in-law has a terminal disease and expected to pass very soon, so we've flown over to spend time with everyone. They're Australian, we live in the US. They used to fly over and stay with us all the time before mother-in-law got sick. I love my mother-in-law and father-in-law. They've been amazing grandparents and very lovely to me. Yesterday, my husband and father-in-law looked after the kids while my mother-in-law and I had a spa day. When we were driving home, she started getting very upset and she ended up getting me to pull over. Then she dropped the news. When I met my husband, he was still in a relationship with his ex. I came to Australia on a working holiday at a snow resort and my husband was working at the same place. We quickly fell in love. He came to the US for the next season. We did that for a few years around the world before settling down. Mother-in-law has just revealed that he had a long-term, 4 years, girlfriend at the time. He was driving back every few weeks to see her and she apparently visited once. According to mother-in-law, she wasn't a huge fan of the girlfriend, but has felt terrible keeping the secret for so long and wanted to get it off her chest before she passed. Basically, my husband up and left Australia and ditched everything he had and knew, ghosted all of his childhood friends, girlfriend, etc. His parents moved states not long after, so there were next to no ties to his old life. There were so many lies. He said he used to visit his parents on those trips the first year we met. No, he was fucking his girlfriend for 4 months, going on dates, hanging out with her family. She visited for days. I don't really know how to feel right now. I feel so betrayed and lost. I can't trust him again, but I don't think I could be a single mom. I feel so lost right now. Edit. Just so people know, we were exclusive, and after the Australian snow season ended, which is from June to October, we both came back to the US for our snow season. We did that switching between the hemispheres together for a few years. I haven't spoken with my husband yet, but I'm going to approach the situation gently. I feel like, yeah, an excuse could have been made for, actually, no. I was like, an excuse could have been made if they weren't exclusive, but he was exclusive with this other girl. So no matter what, he was cheating. To be in a committed relationship with 2 people, and then so he then left her, he just ghosted her to be with this woman. Then why didn't you just break up with her if you were clearly interested in what became your wife? Men, my God. Men will do anything but go to therapy. Shame on the family for not telling her sooner if they knew. Obviously, there's like no allegiance to her, but they got married. And the mother is only feeling guilty about it, feeling the need to tell her about it when she's about to fucking die, dude. I truly don't know what she should do because I feel like that's just such a skeevy thing on everybody's part. And like, I really wonder what would have happened if the mother-in-law didn't pass from a terminal illness. Like, would she have ever found out? 13 years in, maybe it's just best that she never did find out because you are just unraveling a whole life that these two people made. Some of the comments. I'm sorry about everything, but for fuck's sake, his mother is something else, dropping that information, knowing she isn't going to be around for the fallout. If you don't want to break up, then you need therapy both together and alone. I completely agree with that. I didn't even think about the fact that, yeah, she's not going to have to deal with any of the fucking fallout either because she's going to be croaked, dead, gone, and buried. I definitely think, if nothing else, like this person said, best case scenario, if you want to stick together, you're gonna just have to bear through it and get therapy both together and by yourselves. Okay, next story. I've only just realized that I let the men I call my family and friends ruin my marriage. I've been divorced for almost 2 years, and a few weeks ago my father, 67 male, my 2 brothers, 37 and 40 male, and 4 friends, 35, 37, 38, and 41 male, while very drunk, joked about how they can't believe I left my wife. They said they all tried to get with her since the divorce, but she repeatedly rejected them, saying it would be inappropriate and unkind to do such a thing to me. I laughed at what they were saying just to ease them into saying more, and once they thought I found it funny, they really opened up. They'd all purposely made me feel paranoid about my ex-wife cheating on me and using me, because why would a woman like her be with a man like me if it wasn't for the money I made? They often hinted at, or sometimes even directly said that she wore the pants in the relationship and that she was only with me because I'm easily manipulated. They constantly planted negative things into my mind. If I went to talk with them about something happening in my relationship, they would put a negative twist to it, or they'd purposely give me bad advice. When I lost my job during COVID, they all hinted at how she's definitely cheating now that there's no financial benefit in being faithful to me. I obviously trusted them and often took their words to heart, and it ruined my marriage. I frequently argued with my wife, and I was always accusing her of something or suspecting her of not really loving me. I questioned everything that was between us. I often told her bullshit things like how I'm a high-value man and that she needed to appreciate me, and when I was not working for 6 months, I flipped the script and started accusing her of not respecting me for not working. I was unappreciative of all of her hard work and for being the one who took care of our household bills and any other bill during those 6 months of unemployment. I continued to let their words drive me into paranoia, and I started accusing her of cheating with her coworkers. Eventually, my wife had enough of my moods, constant mistrust, and accusations. She left me, and to be honest, for a long time, it felt like it came out of nowhere, and so I had myself convinced she left me for another man. Now here I am, knowing that every man I've called my family, my friend, were all my enemies who I let destroy my marriage. I obviously lost my mind once they were done telling me all the ways they conspired to ruin my marriage, and we did get to blows. I've cut off all contact with each and every one of them. I want to reach out to my ex and make amends and hopefully get her back. My ex-wife has agreed to meet up with me, and she doesn't know exactly what I want to discuss with her, and I don't know how to go about making amends and hopefully mending our relationship. How do I tell her how much I regret everything and that I want her to give me a second chance? Is there even a chance for us? Edit. Some of y'all keep saying you took the words of your friends over your wives, and I don't think that's a too fair or complete assessment. I trusted my father and brothers. My father was the main driving force behind this manipulation campaign, and it's not often that your entire family is conspiring against you. And not only your family, but also your friends. I'm not running away from accepting the fact that it's wholly my fault in how my marriage ended. I take ownership of that. I take ownership of the fact that I accused my wife of being a cheater or a user. I regret it all. If my ex-wife doesn't accept my apology, I would accept it gracefully. If she said she never wanted to talk to me or ever get back together, I'd also accept. I would not stand in the way, and I would not try to change her mind. I would wish her well and leave her be. This dude is, or was at least, so insecure in the relationship. I understand that a lot of it came from manipulation, but damn, the way he lashed out just screams insecurity. And once again, men will literally do anything but get therapy. If he would have just, I don't know, had somebody to talk it out with and realize that these are all just crazy things in his head, it would have probably changed the situation. I don't really blame his wife for leaving him. Imagine finding something to blame on her anything. Whenever something goes wrong, it's always something to blame on her. That is exhausting, especially when she was the one holding it down. And I'm glad that at least in hindsight, he can see that and understand that. In a way, I'm also like, this dude is clearly a victim of abuse at the hands of his father. The fact that his friends, let's be real, and family, his brothers, all wanted a piece of her. So they're like, let's fuck with their relationship. So shitty. Your own father? I just can't imagine myself personally having my parents, either one of them really, pull something like that, because that's fucking insane. You don't really expect to be manipulated in this sense by your friends and family, and have it be like all of them that are manipulating you to this extent. Obviously, there's going to be some trust there. At least he's also recognizing at the end of the post that he's the one that fucked up the marriage. And at least he's like, if she doesn't want to be with me anymore, then I'm gonna accept that. Looking at some of the comments, so you're telling me that your dad and brothers also try to get with your wife. When will we stop treating women like objects? Hey, did you maybe ever realize that his wife is a person with real feelings? And hey, she just kind of happened to have real feelings for your brother, for your son, for your friend. And just because what? They break up? You think that she's gonna be all yours? She's some sort of object you can just fucking pass around? Wrong, bitch. Another comment. That relationship is dead, dude, and you killed it. Sure, meet up and explain everything you learned and apologize for your wrongs, but besides closure, I don't think you should expect anything more. I completely agree. Like, yeah, maybe he trusts her now, but how is she gonna be able to trust him? Especially when he's that easily manipulated by the people around him. High value? In what way did you believe you were high value? Please leave her alone after you apologize. Don't use this to manipulate her into getting back with you. You blew it, and this isn't something you can fix. She likely wants to stay away from your entire family, given that they all try to get with her. Just leave her alone. Exactly. Update. I've only just realized that I let the men I call my family and friends ruin my marriage. On Sunday, I got to meet up with my ex-wife. I apologized profusely, and she was kind and understanding, but she said she couldn't and wouldn't forgive me. She said that it simply isn't in her nature to forgive, and that despite it all, she holds no grudges or anger against me and wishes me nothing but goodness in my life. She did give me some advice and told me that I've been in an abusive relationship all my life, and that in order to heal whatever is broken in me, that I should cut out my father as he sets the tone for my treatment by the rest of my family. She had pointed out the many ways my father has hurt me or had encouraged my family to mistreat me. She said I'd always be stagnated and unhappy if I continued to associate myself with my family and former friends. I told her that I cut them out of my life and that I've got my first therapy session scheduled in a few days. She said she was proud of me for taking my first step into healing. Our conversation was heartfelt and emotionally devastating as we discussed the many ways our marriage had failed, as well as the abuse I've experienced by my father and family. We cried the entire time. We cried a lot. We ended our conversation with a long hug, and then we said our goodbyes. It's actually kind of sweet how that ended. She seems like a great woman, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really happy that it ended the way it did, and that he's obviously getting the help he needs. He's cutting the people he needs to cut out of his life. Comments for this. If any of your brothers/friends are married or have girlfriends, tell them exactly what they did. Both worked together to manipulate you, then all tried to fuck your ex. They're monstrously manipulative and evil, and quite besides revenge, these women need to know their partners are abusive and manipulating them deliberately and cheating if they were in relationships during this time. I think that's a really good point. Something I weirdly didn't think about before this is that, yeah, hello, these guys are all adults. I can't imagine all of them are single. In fact, you know what? Maybe I can, because they all seem like awful people. She's a good woman. I wish her well and hope you find peace one day too. That's very sweet. All right, next story. My female 30 boyfriend, male 40, refused to sign his divorce papers because his ex showed up with a baby bump. My boyfriend and I have been together for a bit over a year now. He was married before and they broke up because my boyfriend wanted children. This was a couple of years ago. Now they have been separated for 2 years and can start the divorce. When I met him, he was honest with me about him wanting children, a dream I shared with him. He hadn't seen or talked to his ex since the separation. We were supposed to get engaged once the divorce is finalized, but they both need to sign the papers or it could drag. I was worried that she wouldn't sign because from what I heard from my boyfriend's family, she's crazy about him and didn't want a divorce. Little did I know that it would come from him. I went with him to her lawyer's office where they would make it final. I wanted to support him. She wasn't what I expected. She wasn't devastated like my boyfriend's family expected. She looked serene, beautiful, lovely, and totally over my boyfriend. She had her hand on her very pregnant belly. She was pleasant to me, and she basically knew who I was. She cared so little to even act like she didn't know anything about her soon-to-be exes and his new girlfriend. She admitted that she knew through mutual friends and that she kept following his news. She was happy that he looked happy. My boyfriend was shocked. She asked how he was. Instead of answering her, he started yelling at her and shaking with anger/anguish. He refused to sign the papers and told her he would make her life miserable. She was very distraught, but he told her to stop acting confused. She knew what she did. He left. He even forgot that I was there. He just left. I have apologized, but she said that I didn't need to. She apologized instead. Then her lawyer asked if he could drive her home because he didn't want her driving while shaking. He asked me if I too needed a ride. I said that I could take an Uber, but he insisted. The drive was awkward. I found out that her partner was away on business and they've been together for almost 2 years. When I got home, I was exhausted. My boyfriend didn't call or text or anything. I called his mom and she said to give him time because he loved me and to be patient because he just needed time. But what time? This was Thursday. Today he came with breakfast and said that he needed time. I asked if he was signing the papers and he said no. Then that he didn't want to talk about it, but to trust him that he needed time. In other words, he doesn't want to discuss what happened with me. I understand his anger about the situation. I do. I think that it makes sense that he'd be upset that his ex-wife, who previously didn't want to have kids, now just seemingly didn't want to have kids with him. But the way that he handled it has been insane to me. The fact that he stormed out and straight up just doesn't want to talk about it with his girlfriend is not good. It comes off pretty immature, and if I were his girlfriend, I'd be kind of worried about what the fuck he's got in mind. I don't know how unhinged he is. You know, you can't just not talk about something, especially something this serious with your girlfriend. Like, kind of a huge part of being in a relationship is to communicate. Some comments. The lawyer sees a lot of people at their worst and he was worried about the both of you, not just his pregnant client. Please care about yourself at least as much as the lawyer who could easily have let you take the Uber. Yeah. Edit. Next day, I got her side of the story. I had a long talk with her and she was crying all the time and saying how sorry she was about what happened. They were together since they were 19 and very early both agreed that they didn't want children. They're both 40. About 4 to 5 years ago, she fell pregnant. He wanted to keep it, but she didn't. Their relationship deteriorated rapidly after the abortion. According to her, he was very broken afterwards, and she tried everything to make it work. She loved him and didn't want a separation. He ended the marriage anyway because he said that he couldn't stay together anymore. For her, she too had trauma after the abortion. When she fell pregnant with her new boyfriend, she decided that she couldn't do it again and decided to keep the baby even if the relationship is very new. Her boyfriend seems to be very supportive, but she said that even if he wasn't, she made the choice to keep her baby even if the father didn't want to be a part of it. So in other words, her abortion changed her as well as it changed my boyfriend. I believe her. She seemed very genuine. She said that she was happy that he had moved on and that she thought that I seemed great because she hurt him and he was always a great husband and partner and deserved someone great and amazing like him. I told her that my boyfriend probably thinks that she wanted children, just not with him. She started crying. She said that she wouldn't blame him for thinking that and that she doesn't know how she would make him believe that it wasn't the case. That's when she said she had the abortion and was regretful. She couldn't burden him with her trauma and tell him that because she didn't want to put more salt to the wound, that her regret came too little, too late. I don't know. I feel for her and for him. I want him to understand that things happen sometimes without it being someone's fault. She didn't reject him as a father to her children. Her experience with her own body is what changed, not her experience with him. Will he understand that and come to me? I love him and I want him to know that I've chosen him. I'm still not a huge fan of this guy and the way that he treated her. Now that we know more about, her side of the story, it makes sense. Abortion is a very traumatic experience. Not something that a lot of people want to have to make the choice of making, but it's kind of sometimes necessary in order to, protect yourself and your life. And, everybody can choose to not have a kid if they don't want one for any reason. Unfortunately, he realized he wanted to have a kid and she still didn't want to have a kid, and so she made the choice that she wanted to make. It sucks that it resulted in the deterioration of their relationship, but this lashing out, his reaction kind of says a lot about who he is as a person. The pregnant ex-wife was the one apologizing for what, I don't know, and then the girlfriend's apologizing on his behalf. They're both more compassionate and willing to understand the situation than he is. All right, next story. Reddit ruined my marriage. As the title states, my 32 male wife, Sarah, 33 female, has become addicted to Reddit, specifically dramatic stories about failing relationships, family problems, and infidelity. The ones about cheating partners have undoubtedly been the worst and have caused her to look for signs of me cheating. I've never cheated on her and never would, but other people discovering affairs only after 10 years or something and coming here to write about it has convinced her I must be the same. This problem only cropped up when stories from relationship advice subreddits started getting reposted on other sites, probably just to drive traffic for ads or whatever. I don't know. I'm just mad and hurt, and I wish I didn't have the urge to come write this. I'm not looking for advice or asking you guys what I should do. I just want to tell the story. Our marriage was good before this. We've been married for 3 years and it was never the whirlwind of love some other people write about, but we were content. I could always talk to her about little stuff and we enjoyed each other's company. We have our own groups of friends and we were never jealous or bothered when we go out alone. Sarah would spend a lot of time on TikTok before, but it was, and still is sometimes, a more diverse stream of content. Of course, the algorithm shows you what you stick on, and she got stuck on those Reddit story videos with the Minecraft jumping. I'll call it a brain rot because it did, in the most literal way possible, rot her brain. At first, my wife's consumption of this content was nothing more than a passing curiosity like anyone else's. They're fun, everyone loves drama, I guess, but Sarah fell hard into the rabbit hole, and I would hear those videos playing constantly for what seemed like days. And after she got over watching those, she would just read the stories here, night after night, instead of engaging in meaningful conversations or literally anything else that's not harmful to your psychological well-being. She'd be glued to her phone reading another story of someone betraying their partner in some horrible sociopathic way. She'd tell me about them constantly, something she read or was reading. She got excited when she saw there was an update posted about some Anon's life. Wife comes home early and finds the husband with someone else. Husband sees raunchy text message on the wife's phone and discovers an affair. Ex is not so much an ex. You know the stories. Over time it got to her and she started scrutinizing our relationship and looking for signs of trouble. It started with innocent inquiries about my day or casual mentions of female coworkers. Her curiosity morphed into suspicion, and suspicion into outright paranoia. Every text message I receive from a female colleague or friend is a potential threat to our marriage. Every late night at work is met with accusations of seeing someone on the side. Even innocent interactions with our friends are grounds for interrogation now. She's gone through my phone probably 10 times now and is driving herself absolutely nuts. She needs therapy bad, but is convinced the problem is something I'm doing, and I'm just really good at hiding. I suppose now I'm just glad we don't have any kids so they don't have to see her like this, or me. I've been a wreck. I've suppressed my emotions because I know yelling or any kind of retaliation won't have any positive results. I let her be suspicious, I let her follow me to work, I don't have anything to hide, but nothing seems to change her mind. I know it was this content that did it, and maybe her friends encourage it. I know one of them had a long-term relationship end from her partner cheating, but she never acted like this before, so I can only assume Reddit was the catalyst. Maybe she's actually the one cheating on me like my parents have suggested, but I'm not the type to go looking for things that might not be there. I feel so anxious and alienated in my own home. My friends, when I can manage to talk to them, always suggest I leave her, and I hate to admit it, but it's been probably 6 months like this, and I don't see it getting any better. I don't know what it'll take to get me to pull the plug, but I don't know how many more nights I can sit in front of the TV with tears in my eyes, knowing no matter what I try to do to salvage our relationship, it will be met with coldness at best and rage at worst. The best I get is a few moments where we'll actually have a friendly conversation, but I know we'll be back to the same hostility within a day or two. This site has ruined my life, and now I'm right here with the rest of you from the cheating stories, I guess. Man, this is kind of just sad, honestly. This is kind of one of the ones where I'm like, is this real? She needs therapy and she needs it bad. Don't spend that long on Reddit, and especially when it starts affecting your psyche to the point where like you're convincing yourself that your life is basically becoming one of these Reddit stories. She needs to kind of step back and take reality into account. Majority of people don't fucking use Reddit to begin with, and it's from all around the world. It's not just the US. You have to take into account like how many people there are in the world, how many people deal with these specific situations, and then also how many people are going to come to Reddit to talk about that. I mean, to be that paranoid with your husband, having any friends, having any outside contact that's not healthy for your mental health, I would be a little scared if I were him. Trying to find something, anything, that is legit crazy. If I were in a situation, I would make sure she gets therapy. Otherwise, I would maybe bring an ultimatum in and say, hey, if you don't stop doing this, I'm gonna break it off. But then again, that might confirm her suspicions that he's cheating on her or something. Okay, comments. Just tell her that Reddit told you she must be the one cheating because it's often the cheater that accuses the innocent one first, and then get her therapy. For the content, obviously, I think it'd be funny to be like, see how she reacts. All of a sudden, she's gonna be like stalking herself to be able to like figure out if she's cheating, or just like have an existential crisis. But yeah, no. Therapy. If this is even true, it sounds like your wife is having a psychotic breakdown. If she knows where you are all the time and you show her your phone, browser history, social media posts, etc., what other proof does she need? You're doing that, right? If you are and she still thinks you're cheating, then she truly needs help and you need to leave her. That's kind of how I overall feel about the situation. Is she needs to cut off her social media use, of course, and she needs to seek help, and I think that it's probably best if they separate because this kind of behavior is not healthy for anyone involved. All right, next story. My husband slept with my best friend at our wedding. I, female 24, and my husband, male 26, had our wedding 2 days ago. During the wedding, I noticed my best friend, female 24, and husband were missing halfway through our reception. At first, I thought they must have been outside for a smoke break. I decided to go looking for them since I was curious and had a bad feeling. As I was walking past the disabled toilet, I heard a loud pitched noise that sounded like a dying cat. I knocked on the door to see if everything was all right. I then heard my husband say, "Be quiet." The second I heard his voice, I started banging on the door. Suddenly, my supposed best friend and new husband walked out looking like they had been dragged through a hedge backwards. They both had a guilty look on their face, and in that second I knew exactly what happened. For a bit of context, my best friend had a tendency to open her legs to everything that moves, but I never would have thought that she would open them for my own husband. As for my husband, I thought he was one of the kindest people I'd ever met and never would have expected this from him. After they emerged from the bathroom, I stormed away while they both chased after me, apologizing. I got into a taxi and left back to my hotel where I've been a mess for the past 2 days. Fellow Redditors, I'm not looking for advice. I just need to get this off my chest before I go all female rage on them, if you know what I mean. I don't want to say it. It feels like it's coming from a soap opera instead of real life. To fuck somebody else at your own wedding, crazy, weird, awful behavior, terrible people. Anyways, there is an update to the story, so let's hear it out. Hey guys, sorry for the lack of update. I know a couple of people have been asking me for one. Before the update, I wanted to say thank you to all the kind comments and messages I've been receiving. For those who said I was lying and faking, fuck you. For a bit of extra context, I had been friends with my ex-best friend since we were 11. I've been inseparable ever since. She introduced me and my husband when I was 20 and he was 22. She seemed so supportive of the both of us when we first got together until the day we got married. I had absolutely zero idea that they were hooking up behind my back. My ex sometimes has to travel for work, so he can be away for a few days at a time every few weeks. I thought he was just working. I now know that he was mostly just fucking my best friend. I know some of you are wondering why I didn't cause a scene at the wedding. Causing a scene was the last thing on my mind. The only thing I wanted was to get away from the situation. I had a few messages from guests wondering what happened, and all I have been saying is that I suddenly got ill and apologized for my quick exit. As for the two fuckwits, I blocked them both, not before telling my ex I was annulling the marriage and wanting nothing to do with the both of them and that they can enjoy each other. You know what people say, once a cheater, always a cheater. I'm still at the hotel currently and I can't face going back to the house me and my ex shared. Thank you again for all the kind words of support, and if you choose not to believe my story, then don't comment because nobody wants to hear your negativity through the screen. I'll give updates when I have more to give. Okay, so I guess fuck me then. The context adds a lot more, so it makes way more sense that they were having an ongoing affair. Her reaction makes sense, probably would have been something that I would have done myself, which is just get the fuck out of there because I don't know how to even deal with this situation. Let alone like put up a front that I'm okay with it. That's just disgusting to be betrayed that way on a day that's supposed to be your day, and to now have that all be flipped upside down. I'm glad she's getting an annulment. All right, reading some comments. Get an annulment so he couldn't stay faithful for 1 day. It's mostly they've been having sex behind your back for a while. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. All right, next story. My boyfriend proposed and now I don't want to marry him anymore. I know this might seem stupid and ungrateful, but honestly, I'm too upset to even care. 2 days ago, my boyfriend proposed to me at a McDonald's nearby our house. He got on his knees in the middle of us eating and asked if I wanted to marry him with the silver ring. Some people were looking at me with happy faces and others with looks of pity and disgust. That's how I felt in that moment. I didn't say anything. I literally just sobbed and nodded my head because I didn't want to embarrass him. The reason I'm mad over his wave proposal was because 1, we don't talk about him proposing every day, but we probably talk about it twice a month, with him usually bringing it up. I told him I wanted my mom, dad, and my sister to be there if it was possible, and for it to be in a romantic setting. 2, I hate silver jewelry. I'm a gold girl, and he knows it. I told him I would never want a silver ring, and if he does buy me any jewelry, it's gold. I feel like if you're asking someone to spend their life with you, then it should be more thought out and planned. I don't think this is the type of person I want to marry, but I don't know. I've been trying to convince myself since yesterday that maybe I hyped up the proposal in my head too much, that whatever he did would not have topped it off. I think anything but that would have been better. Update. I didn't expect this to get as much comments as it did. I wanted to answer some things and comments people have put. Why I wanted a gold ring. I wanted a gold banded ring because I only own gold jewelry. I never said it had to be expensive. I literally would have been happy with a simple ring with a gold band. I was more mad at the fact that he knows how much I love gold and has bought gold jewelry for me before. We make jokes about how much I hate silver jewelry. How old are you guys? I'm 28 and he is 32. Do you not love him anymore? I love him the same amount. Still, we've been together for 7 years and I don't think you can ever stop loving someone that quick. If you loved him, then you would accept any proposal. Well, if someone purposely asks you what you want your proposal to be like, and then they don't make it anything near it, I wouldn't be mad if he did it at the park, the dinner where we usually go out to eat with our family, etc. I wanted the place to have more meaning and to be more romantic. Also, for the people who think romantic equals fancy, you guys are dead wrong. Now to the people wondering if I ever said something about it. We had a long conversation and he said that he'd rather just get it done quick than pushing our whole lives to do it. It obviously hurt my feelings that he'd want to get something done quick that has to do with him asking me to be in his life forever. He apologized and then said he proposed in a different way. I didn't really know what to say because it felt like I was asking him to propose instead of him wanting to do it. We're not broken up, but we are also not engaged. We're in a weird place right now because I feel like a proposal is a big thing and he messed it up trying to rush it. Another thing is that he is literally my dream man. He takes me out to dinner every Friday, buys me things without me having to ask, and takes me out on trips spontaneously. The whole thing just threw me off all the way, which is where a lot of this anger and sadness is coming from. I didn't want this post to seem like I hated him, so I'm sorry if you thought that. I understand the frustration. I mean, the first guy in the first story had this whole plan on how he was going to propose to his girlfriend. This guy just bought a fucking ring that he found, and then just one day when they were eating at McDonald's decided to fucking propose to her while they were eating. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that that's not a good proposal. Proposals should not be rushed. You put a lot of time and effort into the relationship. That should be reflected in the proposal. You don't have to make a proposal fancy in order to make it romantic. And the fact that she expressed that she doesn't like gold jewelry, they made it a joke. The fact that they talked about the proposal and how she wanted important members of her family there, to not even respect that after talking about it for how long, just to rush it through, and now you're gonna have to do it again. Now he has to redo the proposal. To be quite honest, I would definitely be questioning my relationship with him if I were this woman, because to rush it like this because you just want to get it done and over with is just, it's not a good mentality to have when it comes to something as special as getting married and wanting to spend the rest of your life together. Comments. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like he went out of his way to propose to you exactly how you didn't want. Like he spent some time with you know, I hate to say it. Yeah, that's kind of true, isn't it? Everything from the ring to the location to the not having people there. I just can't imagine how you could spin it in a way that it was just like, no, I forgot. When it's like, well, no, but you've talked about it at least twice a month. So you definitely could not have forgotten. Next story. Dumped my girlfriend over a joke and I can't tell anyone or I'll look like a psycho. Too long didn't read. My ex made a broken condom joke and I spiraled so hard I ended the relationship, but that's really embarrassing, so I half-heartedly claimed it was for self-improvement instead. My 23 male, ex 25 female, and I were together for just under 8 months and we clicked. Got along like a house on fire from the moment we met. We had a lot in common, from our morals to our goals to our taste in music. My family loves her, probably more than they do me. Mom wanted a daughter so bad she couldn't stand it growing up. 4 sons before she gave up. It was probably 3 months ago now that we had been on the couch while I watched a movie and she scrolled TikTok. Not a TikTok hate post, scrolling can be fun, I'm just more of a YouTube guy. Speaking of showing me videos, she showed me one of a man holding his son and dancing to a song. She laughed and said something about how good I would look as a dad, which was pretty weird considering as far as I knew, both of us were child-free by choice. God knows I am. I tried to take it as a joke and mention that it was too bad, so sad, she would never know. I thought that she would respond something about how there's nothing sad about avoiding it or something. She's never given me an indication before this that she wanted children. And she started giggling like this evil giggle and said something like, I don't know, it only takes one broken condom, in this sing-song voice that I'm not even joking gave me fucking goosebumps. The implication was clear in her tone, like she was making a joke about poking holes in condoms to me, for real? I tried to laugh it off, but it made me so fucking uncomfortable, skin crawling levels of skeeved the fuck out. And after that, my sexual interest in her was entirely gone. It's like I processed her as a threat or something. To be entirely honest, My libido in general is entirely fucking gone. Still hasn't come back. It feels like it's hibernating or something until that scary lady is gone. I know what you're thinking. Why didn't you communicate? And I tried, like a couple of times. But when she said, oh my God, I was kidding you, big baby, but never denied that the joke was about that, I dropped it and stopped bringing it up. I didn't even think it was worth the fight at that point because while I still do care about her, like, a lot, I do not feel comfortable even going to sleep around her. And there's no way that it's going to mesh with a healthy relationship. If there's no trust, there's no relationship. That's how I feel, right? So I broke up with her, and when I told her, I said it was because I really needed to focus on myself. Didn't see a point in telling her then. It would have just pissed her off. As is, she seemed to take it in stride, not angry or concerningly upset, so that's good. My family is more heartbroken than I am, and I haven't been great. They're begging me to reconsider, not that I would, especially considering that there's no way in hell I'm telling them anything. My mother would be beside herself, think grandchildren, please son, give me grandchildren, but more than that, I know even my dad, who doesn't care about grandchildren and recognizes that he's more likely to get them from my younger siblings, would call me out for overreacting. So they got the same story she did. It's frustrating because I know it's no big deal and a joke, but it also had been upsetting or sad. I know I'm overreacting, but in the moment it felt like my only option, and I really don't want to take it back even if I am. I know you may think I'm paranoid, and I probably am, but I just cannot stop thinking about it. After she told that joke, I think it was going to end one way or another, so I'm glad it ended on decent terms instead of trying to stay and fix everything until I hated her. Sorry I'm talking a lot, but like I said, no one to talk to about this because being unreasonable in real life is like a criminal arrest, and I'm trying to avoid another of that particular black mark on my reputation. Anyway, off to research vasectomies because I will not be entering another relationship or becoming any kind of active with anyone until then, haha. Okay, dude. I get it. To not want to have kids and then all of a sudden hear jokes from your girlfriend that she wants to poke holes in the condom so that way you have to be a father. Not a great joke to make. This dude is clearly trying to convince himself that he did the right thing by breaking up with her. At the end of the day, like, it's your choice, it's your relationship. If you were uncomfortable enough with the joke that you don't want to see her anymore, that she kind of skeeves you out, that's your choice to make. Comments. One of the secrets in life is you can break up with someone for any reason. So true. Sometimes it's the dumbest fucking reason, but it's there. I'm kind of glad that he came here because he was clearly looking for validation in his belief that it was good to break up with her, and he clearly thinks he's overreacting, that it might not have been a good idea. So I'm glad that he got the validation and reassurance from them that he was looking for. Next story. Found out that my husband sleeps with his ex-wife from time to time to prevent her from dating. I just want to lie down in a fetal position and cry. We've been married for 2 years, 2 happy years, until I stumbled upon an email from her that said she didn't want to do this anymore because she wanted to find love and meet other men. He answered her that he loved her more than anything, even more than the children. They have 3, and that he would give her all of the sex she wanted. Then he went on about how it was safer for her to not let in strangers into her home. She said that she was done. He asked her to marry him. She told him that she didn't want him back as a husband. He said he loved her. Now I know why he refuses to have shared custody with her and would rather pay $4,500 in child support instead. So she doesn't have time to date. I'm so heartbroken. I feel like trash. Why is he doing this? I hate, some people make me so mad. You are married, sir, to another woman. If you wanted to be with your wife, then you shouldn't have gotten a divorce the first fucking time around. To prevent her from dating when you are full-on married to somebody else is so gross. The fact that you say it's better that strangers don't go into her house. Hey, if she finds somebody and dates somebody and he becomes, a stepdad, it's not really a stranger anymore. And if we want to talk about strangers in the house, like, hey, if your kids come to visit you, who's a stranger in the house that you call your wife? You didn't even find out through anybody telling you. You had to find out through emails, specifically of her breaking it off with him. And then for him to say that he wanted to marry her again, that he loves her more than anything else, even their kids, that's so manipulative. Comments. This sounds like you were the other woman husband left to be with you, and now the husband regrets leaving her. Am I right? Close. The wife left the husband after OP, yes, she was the other woman, outed their affair. So seemingly the husband never wanted a divorce, just a little ass on the side, but OP didn't like that and took matters into her own hands. Real class act. Jesus. I felt bad for the wife here, but you were the other woman, and you outed it because you wanted to be with him, and now you got your wish. The two of them deserve each other. The ex-wife deserves happiness. I guess karma's a bitch, and he should have known better. Anyway, next story. My best friend doesn't know that I was the final straw in his parents' marriage. I'm 21 male from a rural area. It was kind of hard being a gay kid back home, especially since I played football. Luckily for me, our coach was my best friend's daddy and I was his favorite player. I also secretly had a crush on him the whole time. Sometimes it would just be me and him and we watched videos from the team games to see what could be improved upon, usually while Cooper, 22 male, and his mom were out doing some artsy thing. About a few days after my 15th, we were watching game tapes and I asked Coach if I could have a beer too. He let me get 3 and I got a bit tipsy, and with some liquid courage, I just got in his lap and kissed him. He was shocked at first, but he didn't stop me, and that's how I lost my virginity. We kept on hooking up afterwards, so one day his wife had to use his truck and she found a pair of my tidy whities I left on accident. No one in their house wears tidy whities. Mind you, they'd already been fighting a lot even before we started hooking up, and after she found my undies, she went ballistic. He admitted to being bisexual and sleeping with a man. She kicked him out, and I spent all my free time consoling Cooper about his dad and his parents' divorce when I wasn't screwing his dad. I stopped when I went off to college and Coach moved on to some older guy. I'm still best friends with Cooper, and he stopped speaking to his dad. So I'm kind of hoping that this one's not real. Yeah, I do think it's not real. Let me just say that first and foremost. This just does not feel real. But I read this verbatim. He literally calls him daddy. Should we talk about the fact that this is basically rape? I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. This dad is a fucking full-on adult, and he's fucking a 15-year-old kid, making him lose his virginity. Once again, this is a situation where it's like, how can you look at your friend anymore knowing that you fucked his dad? This whole story gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I think I have goosebumps. Comments. Yeah, if I were you, I'd take this to the grave. How can you even look at your friend in the eye? I'm not judging, but I'm surprised you stayed his friend. Yeah, bro was screwing both the dad and the son. Weak-ass creative writing attempt. Lay off the porn and try taking a creative writing class, because this isn't it. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like I said, for some reason, this just gives off very fake vibes, but if it is real, I hate it. Last story. This is another one where I'm like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. Girlfriend had pity sex with someone and thinks it's not cheating. Yes, we are in a relationship. I've known her from middle school and we started dating ever since. We were both virgins before that. Recently, she told me that she had sex with someone out of pity while we were in a relationship. When I confronted her, she said that she doesn't count it as cheating because she didn't love him and just wanted to help. But why the fuck did this happen out of the blue? After I showed her how sad I was, she was very shocked and said she didn't know it would break my heart like that, but I genuinely don't know how to feel. She's extremely kind and beautiful, but sometimes very dumb. Her mother also knows it and tells me that sometimes she acts like a kid. But still, how can you not know that sleeping with someone else is cheating? Especially the fact that the guy was way too old and he could have hurt her. She says she's sorry that she didn't know and all, and I want to forgive her because I just don't know what do I do without her. I want to marry her someday. Our families know each other, and I know she was just a little dumb, but I still feel like my heart is way too broken. I don't know what to do. This past week, I was fully numb and didn't say shit to anyone. I wanted to vent here. Yeah, once again, don't know if I believe this story at all, but all I have to say is that if it is real, this is probably like the dumbest person I've ever seen. Pity sex is still sex, it's still cheating. How can you not think that's cheating? And how can you only understand that you made him upset after he had to show that he was upset? Sorry, I'm so confused. What did she actually take pity of? Like, what part of her deciding to have sex with someone else wasn't cheating, but just something to do because she felt sorry? I'm so fucking confused. What did she do? The man was a virgin creep and ultra thirsty and ultra old. She thought she was doing something good by this without thinking of what it would do to my heart. Now I'm kind of starting to think that it might be real. That this dude is probably like a 30-year-old virgin and took advantage of a younger girl in order to be able to have sex. Who's to say he was a virgin and just trying to manipulate somebody into having sex? Intellectually disabled and with 24/7 care from her parents. OP is quite the fellow. I don't know. Everyone seems to be missing the detail that he slipped into the comments. I don't know what to make of this story. I don't know what to think. I'm just gonna say everybody kind of sucks in this story, and we'll just move on and end it here. And those are all the stories I have here for you today. I hope you liked them as well as my finished look. I think it turned out really cool. I like all the gemstones, the color matches my cute little shirt. If you have any thoughts, make sure you leave them in the comments below, whether that be about any of the stories that we read today, about my cute little look, or about potential other video suggestions that you might have. If you like this video and you want to see more reading Reddit stories, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see anything else I put out, whether it be makeup, reacting, gaming, anywhere in between, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I try to put videos out as often as I can. I will see you in the next video. Bye! No, that was cool. That was nice. Jesus Christ. Okay, they're not evenly spaced, but who gives a shit, right? Right? I don't care. I don't care.